This club's about winning trophies. I'm inexperienced in a lot of those things.
3-0.
Sorry for smiling there.
Almost lost the cup and you win it. The new European champions, the treble, the dream come true for you.
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? Manchester United 3, Newcastle. Who are you 2? Manchester United get an important win. Uneven performance. Definitely nervy at moments. There are a bunch of big things that happened in this game. 2 massive clearances from Casemiro. Oh, Jesus Christ. Amrabat had like a last-minute tackle to stop a goal. Onana had a last-minute save to stop a goal. They had a penalty shout. But I'm focusing on the positive, baby. Last game of the season at Old Trafford. I thought we were going to blow the 40-year record that United has never lost after going into halftime with a lead in 40 years since 1984. That was my concern, especially when they got that late goal. But either way, 3 points. It's all about the youngsters. I mean, that's the talk. Ahmad, what a game he had. He's your right winger. Shit, man, it's going to be hard for Marcus Rashford to get back into this 11 with Garnacho and Ahmad playing the way that they can play. But that's my positive. I enjoyed it. Probably a good game for a neutral, but how are we feeling, sir? How are we doing?
Absolutely buzzing. We needed these 3 points. It's been a rough go. Last 10 matches have been just like dying. Absolutely dying, struggling against the Burnleys of the world, the Bournemouths cooking you, Arsenal do the double. I mean, it's just been a grind to the downside like Manchester United's never seen. Still conceding more goals than we ever have since the 60s, which is unfortunate. But, finding a way to do it against Eddie Howe's men, I kind of felt like the mental place Manchester United fans have been in the last couple of weeks has been low. So to have a little surprise to the upside with the youth coming through and shining, I thought it was great. Didn't need to concede that last goal to make us all a little nervy, but we have done it, sir. The glass half full. Like you said, Ahmad, I feel like he was just in space waiting for that on the back post all game. What a player. It's great that he's finally broken through or said sorry to the manager or started doing something because holy crap, where has he been all year long from injury? Obviously scored the winner against Liverpool. I mean, he looks a absolute player, like the one that we purchased and thought we were getting a long time ago. Had a great loan in Sunderland and now all of a sudden breaking through into the starting 11, putting Anthony on the bench. You love to see. And now you're looking at it, you're like, wow, Kobe, Ahmad, Garnacho, Højlund. I mean, they're not all finished articles, right? Garnacho hasn't really been humming on the left, indecision, at times, struggling a little bit, but still he's rapid, he's got the raw talent. And now you have like a core that's coming up. And now you just got to get rid of pretty much everybody else and rebuild around that core. And I think that is the theme at United. And so from the ashes rises the youth at United, and hopefully we'll sort it all out with Ratcliffe and co. and then beyond to winning 21, 22, and 23, hopefully before 28, sir.
2028.
Yeah, hopefully before 2032, think about it, in 2028, all these kids are going to be in their prime, so you want to be building for that. But Ratcliffe said 3 years, I'll give him 4. It's going to take a little while to clean this mess up at Old Trafford, and so not a great season, not great form, but we're going to take a good win because this is showing us what the future holds at Manchester United.
Hey, there's plenty to complain about. This easily could have gone a different way. Like, let's not fool ourselves. But this season has been a bear. It's been a bear for every Manchester United fan when we all expected to see at least the same level of performance we saw last year and then to see a huge step down. It's been exhausting. So today, far from perfect, but like you said, we're going to focus on the positives. I want to focus on the positives. I think you're focusing on the positives, sir, which is like the kids, bro. Mod. We said on the Patreon pod, join Patreon. They go the extra mile, extra special benefits as well, including a behind-the-scenes pod we do every month. And we were just talking about, sir, we spent 200 fucking million pounds, 200 million pounds in the last 5 years on right wingers. And I think Ahmad's Anthony certainly isn't. Sancho isn't. Poor Facundo, but it's Ahmad. Dude, Ahmad Diallo is only 21 years old. He's gone to Sunderland. He's languished in the physio room and on the bench all season. And he's just like, oh, this guy's a player. His change of control, his ability to like slow down and speed up. Did you see that
He's
today?
rapid and in tight areas
good.
too.
He's
It's
so
like
good. He's 21 is all I'm saying. He's 21. Hoyland's 21. Kobe's 19. And I think Garnacho's 21. So it's like there are some things to build on. There's a lot of work to be done, but we have some serious bones that we can kind of build around.
Also, shout out to Bruno coming into the team and us looking like a different team. Bruno, future kind of, obviously he's kind of come out. He just wants a new contract. He wants a guarantee on kind of what the plan, and he's part of it. So I think there was a little back and forth in the press this week. But look, Bruno looking great. The team getting a win at this point. We'll do anything for a win, sir.
Anything for a win.
So we got one, and if you want to beat City, we got to start playing some good football or figuring out who can play good football. In the meantime, we have Brighton before the FA Cup final. So one more game to do it. But, sir, quick PSA for the podcast. You like the America Red Devils? We are for fans by fans. Like Alex said, we just recorded our Patreon behind-the-scenes episode. We do one every single month, so sign up. Join Patreon. You get to listen to that episode, and there's tons of other benefits. Please check it out. We don't have any sponsors on the pod because I hate listening to podcasts with ads. It just pisses me off, which is pretty much the reason why we don't have them. We have been reached out by every shit ad that you don't want to hear has reached out to us to advertise on the pod. We just literally say no to the detriment of our pocketbook. So support us on Patreon. If Patreon's not your thing, AmericaRedDevils.store. Believe in this manager. Back him. The Eric Ten Hag Red Army scarf, $4.99. Everyone's saying they're backing this man, and we haven't sold that many scarves. So get online and buy him before Alex has to donate him to Goodwill, because no one's going to be buying him if this man is gone. So we shall see, sir. It's a big decision for Ineos, but $4.99 AmericaRedDevils.store. AmericaRedDevils.com. We got fan blog content. If you want to contribute to our blog, email us AmericaRedDevils@gmail.com. And if you want to shout or rant or do anything else to ARD, you can email us there as well. We usually get back to everybody who is polite. Sir, tell them about iTunes reviews and other places that they can support this small-time operation.
Like John mentioned, it's just us. Every bit of support we can get goes a long way. Doing back-to-back pods after putting our kids down. Speaking of ways of supporting the pod without spending any money, is you can write reviews, write 5-star reviews on iTunes or Spotify. And if you send a screenshot with your mailing address to AmericaRedDevils@gmail.com, I will personally pick, pack, and ship some free ARD gear. Send it right to your door anywhere in the world. Here's a great review from Ginger Gremlin84. Let's go. Glory, Man United. Came across this podcast when looking for some Manchester United therapy on my hour commute. Started listening right before the win at Wembley. Suffered through the 7-0 loss at Anfield and the recap episode, and now a habitual listener on the East Coast. Keep up the great work, fellas. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone writing those reviews. More 5-star reviews than 5-star reds these days, but today I enjoyed it.
All right, sir, let's break it down. Manchester United 3, Newcastle 2. We won! That lineup, Onana in net, Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, he's back at center back. Johnny Evans, Delo, Mainu, I'm a robot, McTominay midfield, Garnacho on the left, Bruno playing the false 9, Diallo on the right, Hoyland on the bench. How are you feeling about this 11?
I had concerns, like everyone, about Casemiro at center back, but I was most excited that Ahmad got a back-to-back start, and he didn't go back to Anthony. So that's what I was excited about. Obviously, seeing Bruno again, we missed him these last 2 games, and I think his impact was felt in a major way today. So I was focusing on like who I was excited to see instead of who I was frustrated seeing. So Ahmad, back-to-back starts, let's go. He should own that right wing.
Hey, the Dutchman's stubborn. When he changes it, it usually works. He benched Hoyland. That has not been working. Put Bruno at false 9. I did like that. So, hey, you change it. Let's see what we got. We come out. Newcastle, they were dominant right from the jump. But we had a great chance in the 15th minute. Ahmad took from the edge of the box. Decent save. He was kind of holding in that position on the right. Few cross deflections came to him. Corner deflections came to him. He had some volleys, some close chances, and that's where he ended up getting his goal. So I thought it was actually the great positional discipline from the youngster was the reason why we ended up breaking through. 27th minute, great ball over the top from Bruno to Garnacho. Keeper does very well at a tight angle. I feel like Garnacho kind of opened up a little early here. He's young, but he's rapid. And with Bruno kind of spraying these passes, I feel like this the game was wide open at the end of the day, right? You want to say, hey, United, Newcastle, Eddie Howe came to this was two heavyweights, maybe mid-table heavyweights, throwing blows. I mean, both teams going for it, open. This is exciting, but as a United fan, for me, I just kind of felt like a little nervy because when we're open, we're open. But we don't have to worry about that because our boy, Kobe, would do it in the 31st minute.
Jallo. And Mainu! Old Trafford exhales. And the brightest spark of a pretty dark, dismal season takes the acclaim.
I mean, great cut in by Ahmad. Ball floats to Kobe Mainu right in front of the net. Finishes coolly. You love to see that.
Ahmad, super dangerous in the right wing. Bruno in the middle of it. Did he get a touch on it? Did he not? But he did, the dummy kind of thing, and it went right to Kobe. And Kobe, 19 years old, showing that level of coolness to just slot it home in the corner and then barely celebrate. He was great today. He faded a little bit in the second half, I think, as he got tired, but I thought he was really effective in the first half and using his body well. So good for him, bro. What a season he's having.
35th minute, Amrabat gives the ball away. Dangerous position, tries to recover. Big collision in the box here with this Anthony Gordon. Casemiro actually made the tackle, but there was contact with Amrabat on the back ankle of Gordon before Casemiro had the ball. If you look at the replay, to me, this is a pen. I mean, the contact is very clear right before Anthony Gordon's going down from the contact on Amrabat. Then Casemiro does get the ball. Like I say on the pod, the ref says no pen. VAR is in the position of reviewing it. They do not say it's a clear and obvious mistake. I think, and we're going to talk about VAR later. VAR has to say that this is a pen and show it to the referee on the monitor. The referee can then say it is or it isn't. But VAR can't be consistent for this reason because you got these numpties back there watching these TVs, and they're not consistent. So, yes, have we been hard done by penalties? Am I glad this wasn't called a penalty? Yes, but when you look at the consistency from VAR, you look at this one, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be sending them to the monitor. From my perspective, Wayne Rooney agreed in the post game. Hate to say this should be a penalty as a United fan. I know you're the Muppet who usually says it isn't, but I thought it was a tough one.
Let me be my Muppet before you fill my Muppet mouth with Muppet words, sir. It's a penalty. I think we got saved because there was two bodies going in at once that kind of hid the impact that Amrabat had before Casemiro came in. But like you said, it is a penalty. I'm glad we didn't weren't given a penalty or a penalty against us. But this is the consistency issues that we've talked about all season and beyond this season, to be honest. And this is why we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about in the news, which is this shit is a fucking mess, bro.
Total mess.
This is a fucking mess. It's I do care, of course, as it affects Manchester United, because Manchester United is what I care the most about in this league and in general, beyond my family. But it's just there's no consistency in officiating from game to game, and that's because you have different idiots every day doing the VAR. You should just have this. In other leagues, they have the same guys do VAR week in, week out. And guess what? That allows you to establish consistency and make a continuation of calls across games. And the fact that they're just all right, these guys are up today, and then it's these guys.
Yeah, it's exactly. You're right. The consistency is not there. And you go back to this is similar to the Onana against Wolves, where he clocked the guy.
Yeah, it's a pen.
It was a pen. They didn't call it. We win. I'm happy. But then it gets called later in the season. Not happy. What is it? And so I kind of feel like this is just more of a point for the VAR inconsistency than anything. But again, as a United fan, happy this wasn't called a pen. 37th minute, Casemiro clears off the line. Newcastle pushing. I was like, we should have to get in with the 1-0 lead before half. 45th on the counter, Ahmad was able to dance through the box. Nice 1-2 with Kobe. Almost has a great goal. Ahmad just dangerous. I think the theme is, how did the Dutchman keep him on the bench that long? Jesus, sir. What was he saying at halftime?
Stubborn bastard. Ahmad. He not only he's 2-footed, he not only had a great goal that we'll talk about in the second half, he tracked back. He did a good job tracking back. He won the ball back a couple times pretty high up the pitch. So he's got a great work ethic. and somehow he's only 21, and he's got even more upside. So whoever's the manager next season, Amad Diallo is going to feature, or at least certainly should feature, as a big part of it.
So I said we shouldn't concede going into half, don't concede right after half.
You know he would.
Murphy. Gordon! 1-1. And it's taken barely 3 second half minutes.
Oh, AWB snoozing. Gordon getting in there. Can't let that happen. It sucks. This one sucks because, though, Onana clearance. Like, again, we're playing hoofball with Onana. It gets recycled right back in. We're right against it. And then not switched on for the Gordon attack. I mean, it's just, this has been too much of this. And this is what I define as shit football. It's like we paid for a keeper who could play out the back, hoof it up, and then we're right under pressure right away, and no one switched on.
Well, no one closes it down, right? They don't close the ball down. It's a nice goal, and the ball in is nice, and the finish is nice. But it's like you have the ball. This is not the only time this happened in this game where we just lumped it upfield.
And invite pressure.
And then at certain points, like he was completely playing in the back and doing a good job playing out of the back. So I think we pivoted to long balls too often, and when we actually just tried to play the back, it seemed to work pretty well. Like they were finding pockets, but this is a great example of what happens when you just fucking hoof it up the field.
Yeah, especially with this back line, right? 53rd minute, AWB, another terrible giveaway. Somehow Amrabat gets back, saves a goal. I mean, this one, oh my God. This should have been a goal here. Isaac, how did he not score?
Amrabat had a good game, to be fair. This is probably his best
And then went
game.
off the crossbar after the tackle. I think he hesitated, but huge stop from Amrabat.
No, it was like the tackle he made on Mbappe in the World Cup. It was a ridiculously good tackle, and it was 3-on-1. I can't believe he got back in the first place. It's a certain goal. Isaac is like lights out in that position. So it's a shame his deal is such a shitty deal. It's a shame that we already paid $10 million and we have to pay another $20 million.
I don't think it's a shame.
Well, I think for a cheap deal, you could use him as a squad player.
I don't think he has the pace. I just think
he showed today.
I don't have the pace.
It doesn't matter. He's not going to get signed. It doesn't matter. So
no, I just look. I want to like the guy. I just think in an international tournament he can do damage. I think at EPL there's a certain
you can't
level.
play left back. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Look, but huge stop on one end. Talk about difference maker in this match for sure. And then boom, Ahmad at the other end.
Bruno Fernandes. Gordon may not get there. Jello did, and how? Ahmad Jello with the sweetest of strikes to fire Manchester United back in front. He certainly knows how to endear himself to the spectators here.
I mean, this is incredible. He's been holding high on the right side on these corners all game. He's had scraps coming to him. He had one volley earlier. And then the way he strikes this, sir, just like, it's unbelievable how he strikes it off the volley, through it. He got all of it. What a strike. You can't, this for a youngster, the composure here, unbelievable.
I mean, he gets so much pace by the ball. He gets
on the left foot, too.
I mean, it's as hard of a hit as you'll see. I mean, it's an absolute rocket from a little lad. Dude, it's exciting. It's exciting because it's like, oh, yeah, we have Amad Diallo, that kid that we bought, when we was, 18? And now he has shown that he can compete in the Premier League. Huge goal against Liverpool, of course, to take us to the semifinals of the FA Cup, and then great goal today. And also, he was great. He had a bunch of these chances in the first half, and even the commentator was like, third time lucky, maybe he's going to get his goal, and he just rockets it home. So good for him. He's bided his time. He's been patient. He hasn't gone social media, and now he looks like the right wing is his.
Yeah, and there was a little chirping in January where he wasn't happy, but it did calm down. He is getting minutes now. You love to see it. 67th minute, great save from Onana. Again, this is end-to-end stuff. 69th, great ball from Bruno at the back post. Nobody can get there. It's great to see Bruno kind of hitting those balls again after those 2 games, man.
Oh, God.
Without Bruno, this team looks
terrible. I mean, we're terrible anyway. Without Bruno, it's unwatchable.
So, yeah, when you say joyless, it's like there's a level below joyless, and that's when Bruno is not playing this
football.
team. 82nd minute, triple sub. Martinez, Højlund, and Rashford for Ahmad, Garnacho, and Kobe throw in the kitchen sink. And you know what? Højlund's a little hungry, sir. He get his goal.
With the legs of Joe Linton. Rasmus Højlund. Now that's some introduction. And it makes this one of the brighter nights for Manchester United as they sign off from Old Trafford with what's increasingly looking likely
3-1.
comfortable home
Good
win.
night. 84th minute. That's all she wrote, right, sir?
You would hope so. It was never going to be that easy, but, nice goal from Rasmus Højlund on his weaker foot. Comes off the bench, hungry, looking to make an impact. Right? I think he only had 1 goal in 8 games, last 8 games. So nice goal from him. I think he gets a little luck. Maybe the ball was blocked off by the defender, but either way, good for the youngster. I think he's hit 15 goals in all competitions for United in his first campaign. Not bad. Price tag is high, but he's a player.
91st minute. Corner. Set piece. Seen this movie before.
Gordon. And the whack is quite a whack. And Lewis Hall has scored 2 goals for Newcastle. Both have been at Old Trafford. 1 in the League Cup.
Here
and 1 now,
we
a potential
go.
Premier League lifeline.
This club can't make it easy. We would break. Højlund had a chance with Rashi. Couldn't connect. That would be it. Manchester United win 3-2. Big win. Last game at home. You like to end on that one. Looking at the stats, XG Newcastle 2.53 to Manchester United's 1.47. It felt like it. It was a wide open game. We were conceding way better chances to Newcastle. I think Onana, credit to him, he stepped up big, saved a lot of saves, a lot of crossbars, a lot of goal line clearances, and then the penalty shout to boot as well. They had us on X threat. That's been the story of the season. That sucks to hear. I don't like even saying it on this podcast because the vibes were so great, seeing Højlund score and winning 3-2, that you just got to take it and just move on because the season's been so shit. You don't need to get into, the XG because the XG is just
already.
depressing.
He did. You leave the man alone. The guy's
No,
dead.
but it
sucks.
It sucks saying
You want
it.
us to
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say that. I want to say we dominated them. We turned the tide, but that's just the way it is.
But we played worse this season and gotten results. So I agree. I want it to be better, but it's been a terrible season. So I'm glad we didn't blow the lead. I'm glad we won. I'm glad youngsters featured. I'm glad he finally started a mod. And I'm glad there was a little bit of joy in some of the United players today that looked like they're hungry and ready to rock. So do I wish it was better? I don't want it to be close with Newcastle, bro. They have Eddie Howe as their manager. We should be Newcastle. They think they're our rival, bro. They're big talkers now.
They are, sir. They are.
Only in the sense that we're in the mid-table and we're Brighton's rival and we're Chelsea's rival.
I know that you want
not
to
our
think
actual
that
rival.
we're better than them.
No, I'm talking about historical significance. They haven't won a piece of silver in 70
Yes,
years.
I agree. Yes, of course. With 20
Spurs
times,
have
20 times.
won.
I'm saying, but at 2024, 23-24, they're our rival. And 24-25, they are our rival. We are on the Newcastle plane. We're on the Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham. These are the teams that we are literally going to be fighting in the mud with. That's it.
We're in the mud.
Villa, big team, big game, top 10 Villa, top 4 Villa now. But these are the teams we're fighting. We're not fighting with the cities of the world, sir. We're not fighting with the Arsenals of the world. We're fighting with Newcastle. That's the reality of this game. It could be, we could be fighting with Bournemouth, bro. It's the way we're playing this year. Could be fighting with
I'm
Bournemouth.
never being positive. I'm never being positive.
21 shots
Come on.
conceded. They had more over the ball, 55% in our house, 8 on target for both teams. But again, I point the XG, it was wide open as a neutral. That is the way you want to see the game. But it was wide open, and we've seen United wide open all season. That result gets us in 8th place. Started in 8th. We are in 8th. -3 goal differential, 57 points. Newcastle, 57 points, 21 goal differential. I don't think we're catching them there. Chelsea, 60 points. Tottenham, 63. Villa, 68. Liverpool, 79. Arsenal, 86. City, 88. 1 game left to play. It's all lined up, sir. Our best shot at Europe is the FA Cup.
The sad thing is we should have, if we weren't fucking dead, we should be in 4th. I mean, they're 11 points ahead of us. It's if we weren't such dog shit all season, now with 1 game left, this should have been achievable. 5th at a minimum. We're 6 points away from Spurs, and we've been awful. It's that's an indictment on just how tight it ended up being at the end of the day and just how bad United's been. And maybe they're fortunate to be in 8th. You've said that, and you're probably right. But it's like, it's also amazing. It's like, Jesus, if we just like, if we had 2 to 3 good months of football, we'd probably be in 5th place.
We're 14th in expected points.
Well, there you go.
Like 14th. Like if you take what the chances that were created in the game statistically, like
not us
it
doing
would
work
lead
second half of the season.
to us being in 14th place. So that means when we're winning, like other teams are creating more chances than us. It's just like by a significant margin, and that like 55 goals for. The only other team that's like the lowest in the top 10, tied with Brighton. 58 conceded, not the worst, but it's a -3 goal differential. That's not going to get you anywhere.
We got to score
know?
goals. We can't score goals. You know? Defense has been shit. Let's be honest. We gave away how many goals this season? How many shots? But like
City
scoring
goals for 93.
but
Goals
even-
against
even Villa,
33.
76, bro. They've only conceded
Goal
2 less.
differential plus 60.
Yeah, I know.
Liverpool, who everyone's laughing at, goal differential plus 43.
I think just we are.
Like,
I think only
minus
I think only
3.
we are laughing at Liverpool. I think.
Yeah, I don't know. We are laughing.
Everyone. You
well,
and me.
so when you get into the European permutations, I believe it comes down to us trying to pick up points against Newcastle on the last day of the season and some other magic there. But the FA Cup will be the number one way that we can get European football, will be beating Man City.
So if we win and Newcastle draw, we get Conference League removed of the FA Cup final result. Or if we draw and they lose, we get Conference League removed of the FA Cup result. And if we win the FA Cup, we make it to Europa League. So Hans and Franz is still on the menu. If we pip for the giant upset, you just looked at the odds.
Something
plus
tells
700.
me
It's
we
plus
won't
700.
have European football
I don't
next
think so
season.
either.
Something tells me that. I don't
think,
know what tells me that.
That might be good for the new manager, whoever he be.
Sir, this man ain't done yet. He's got a speech at the end of the game. Come on, let's hear it.
On behalf of the players, staff, myself, I want to thank you all for the brilliant support during the season. As you know, it wasn't an easy season, but one thing remained constant, and that was the begging of you for the team. But the season is not over yet. First, we travel to Brighton, where we go for 3 points, and then we go to Wembley. And I promise you that those players will give everything, but then everything, to get that cup, to win the cup, and bring him to Old Trafford. And we are sure you will be there supporting us. We thank you. You are the best supporters in the world. Thank you.
All right, he got one thing right. We are the best supporters in the world. Hell yeah. Well done. I mean, look, not easy to give a speech at the end of that season. How does it make you feel, sir?
Conflicted. I feel for the guy. I also, frustrated by the man. Everybody, even now, we all want him to succeed. We all wanted him to succeed. I wish this season had gone differently. I wish, like we talked about, less excuses, a little bit better football. Actually, the excuses are more important. I could have put up with a shit season of football if he was straight with the fans. I appreciate him being a little straight, but even then I would have been like, we were not good enough this year. I'm sorry, but we're going to do everything we can to finish on a high by beating City and denying them a double. And also, we're going to be better. But hey, man, there's something about seeing a manager anytime, in the middle of Old Trafford, talking to the fans, even when it's been terrible. That just it brings the nostalgia right to 2013. So it's this club will be back. This club is special. This club is not like any other club in the world, and we'll get there eventually. I wish it worked out differently with Ten Hag. I'm actually, it's he's a goofy bastard. I wish he wasn't such a fucking stubborn guy, but that just is what it is, right? What are your thoughts coming out of this?
I don't know if he's like, oh, don't forget about those 3 points against Brighton. Like, no money down, 1999. like
how much is that scarf,
It's like,
bro?
does he really
$4.99?
believe me? Like, does he believe what he's saying? You know, like, I feel like he's selling the song too much, man. I just don't feel there's authenticity to it. I feel like he's kind of lost his, like, last season we saw who he was, and I feel like this season he's like rattled and on the back foot and always kind of selling it and like, we got this many center back conversations and we can't play this way and we can't do this and excuses. And it's like, that just isn't going to make, like, the players hear all of that. That's not going to make it like, oh, don't forget, they're going to give everything for that cup. Don't worry. I can guarantee these players are going to try hard. Like, because like, I don't think I need a manager selling me on that, man. I think I need him to be like, yo, dude, like, this is the best club in the world. You're the best fans in the world. And we're going to go do everything to win that cup. But I just feel like he's selling it. He's been selling it ever since the new ownership came in, and they're letting him flounder.
They are.
Ineos has...
Come on. We talked about it. They're leaving him out in the wind, bro.
Ineos, if they backed him hard, like, he would have more authority with the locker room. Maybe the players would be playing a little more. We saw, like, the bluffers kind of show up today against Newcastle. Like, they like to turn up right before it just melts down completely. It's this weird dynamic, and that gets you 8th. This weird dynamic is getting you 8th. And I don't think any Manchester United fan is proud of 8th. We went, like, the number one thing for me, we went to the Stretford End, and it was not singing when kickoff occurred at Fulham. Like, it's like, that says something about what's going on at this club. It says something about what's going on with this team, these players, and this manager. And I feel like they got a lot to prove in these last 2 games, and we'll see what Ineos comes up with.
We'll see what Ineos comes up with. I think that was the most genuine he's looked in a while, but the excuses have been all season. So it's like, we'll see it, dude. We'll see. I don't know. You also bring up good points. Like, they haven't given many reassurances. We've been hearing both things. He's coming. You know, he's staying. He's going from actually reasonably reputable sources for the last 2-3 months. So that can't be a great position to feel as a manager in your second year. So, like, who knows what's going to happen? I have no idea. I don't. But also, I told you this. Like, I don't care. We'll see, bro. Whoever it doesn't matter as much. It's like it's a
big call. This is the big call for
call.
Ineos. This is the huge. This is
next
the number one call.
Kind of it's going to be a wash of a year anyway next year, right? So it's like, I
don't know about that.
I think it will be.
Hey, whatever Ineos decides to do with this call, this is when they're going to be on the hot seat.
Yeah,
no. If they keep him and it's dog shit next year, everyone's going to be like, Ineos, what the fuck? If they fire him and they bring in Southgate, everyone's going to be like, Ineos, what the fuck? So, like, this call,
they're in a tough position,
this is
bro.
the real call that they make, where
hard.
fans are going to be like,
and pundits too,
the hot seat is going to be like, how they're perceived is how they deal with this decision. And I think that they're going to keep him because that's going to do what they think is going to be buying them more time as a conservative approach, and it could put them on the back foot if we come out like playing like we're playing next year. Because, like, ultimately that's the whole issue with Manchester United is you have to play attractive football. Like, you have to start playing the way Arsenal is playing, like, you know, the way that City's playing, the way that Newcastle is trying to play. Like, all these teams are trying to play a certain way, and you got to get going that way, and like sooner rather than later, because this, whatever we saw today, even at Newcastle, wide open, like booting the ball, letting up goals, like it's rough. It's rough, and we got to stop it. So if it's Erik ten Hag, if he stays, we got to start playing the Ajax way straight away. It's like there's no excuses anymore. And whoever we hire, that has to be the same. If we end up letting him go, is like we got to change the way we're playing. And and the manager, I think that stops at the feet of the manager. And like, how are you going to back Ten Hag and expect him not to come up with like tons of excuses next year? You're gonna have more injuries. You're gonna have more issues. They're not going to give you every player you want. Like, I need a guy who can like put all that aside and like get some results with what he's got. That's like the number one thing that concerns me about bringing the manager back.
I want first season Ten Hag, not second season Ten Hag. And here's the thing: you actually just convinced me. It's like, if we win the FA Cup, they're probably going to just keep him around because that way they can just fire his ass if we suck in fucking October, right? It's like, it gives them a blood sacrifice to make, and they'll be like, hey, well, we just get... They don't have to make a decision, right? It's like a non-decision decision, and then they can just...
Yeah, but that's a decision.
I know it is. Of course it is. But it's like, it's less of a move than firing him, paying out $10 million, you know, picking up another guy. when they can just like let it roll if they win. I think it's only dependent if they win the FA Cup, and then being like, well, we can always just fire him in the fall. And I'm sure like Gareth Southgate's going to be hanging around. Gareth Southgate and Graham Potter are still going to be available. I can guarantee you that.
If they keep him after this season, which is like setting these horrific records, and the eye test is like the football is just crap, like. If they keep him and then it continues, they're going to get cooked.
Yeah, they'll fire him, but they'll fire him in like the second month.
I think the easier decision is to shit can him and bring in like the best manager you can find. Like, and you're right. There's like financial considerations associated with that. There's a lot of different things, but like I'm not on the payroll of Ineos. And this is going to be a tough call because when they're floating Graham Potter and Southgate, like, you really want to be on the hot seat, like put one of those guys in there because you're going to have a tough time. And at the end of the day, like this is almost a no-win call they have to make. But, sir, we got a next match. We have plenty to play for. Let's break it down. Ooh, we're going to Brighton. I still think De Zerbi's a good coach. Playing his way out of
I think Brighton kind of like hides a lot of stuff from a coaching perspective because the club is so well run. Like Graham Potter, everyone thought he was a great coach, but the Chelsea failed miserably. I don't know. We'll find out. Hey, here's the thing: all the talk about him going to like Barcelona and Real Madrid quieted down when they hit a rough patch this season.
Hey, it's a hard game being a manager of Brighton.
A very hard job.
Speaking of Brighton. We're going to the Falmer Stadium Sunday, May 19th, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. They all kick off at the same time, sir. It is a great day. Game week 38. It ends. Lifetime versus Brighton. We've won 20, drawn 5, lost 7. First time we played them, 1909. We won FA Cup 1-0. All takedown the last day of the season. Last 5, lost 4, won 1. And that was on penalties in the FA Cup. So we actually drew at full time. Brighton. They've been cooking us for a while, but like you said, they have mixed results coming in. Drew Burnley, just like us. City crushed them 4-0. Bournemouth beat them up 3-0. They did beat Villa 1-0, and they drew Newcastle 1-1. They're 10th in the table. They're right around where we are in the mud. De Zerbi playing the 4-2-3-1. You've seen Danny Welbeck before. Billy Gilmore, sir. Dunk. Gross, they got them all. They did ship Maupai, though, the crying Maupai. They did ship him, so.
He's going to be like the new, who's the guy? Obama? Yeah, who's the guy that talks on Talk Sport? He'll be the next one. He'll be like
Gabby Abong Lahore.
He's destined to be the next Gabby, like a very average player that talks shit about like how overrated Wayne Rooney was or something like that.
Look, it's going to be a crazy game between these two teams. And look, going to the South Coast, it's a long trip for United. And we have tons of injuries. Malacia out, Shaw out, Magoo out, Varane. He's actually leaving United. I'm really upset about that one. Just kidding. Did he even play for us? I don't know, sir. Martial, same thing. Apparently he's leaving the club too. Lindelof. Martinez, we saw him come back. Rashford's back. Bruno's back. Mason Mount. Sad to see it, but he's not playing a lot. Injured again. Given that is the injuries, what is your starting 11 here?
It's a tough one. I think he's going to stick with a lot of the same team, especially the back four. So Nana, AWB, Evans, Casemiro, Delo. Shit. I think he likes that Amrabat, Kobe, but I'm going to do Bruno, Hoylands, Garnacho, Ahmad. Ahmad gets another start.
Hoyland's coming in.
Hoyland's coming in.
I don't see that. Team plays so well without him on the bench, and plus him coming on as a sub.
But you're gonna play McTominay as a striker again? Well, let's
Hey.
see what you got. Let's see what you got, sir. Give me what you
I'm
got.
gonna
Give me what you
I'm gonna
got.
go with what we had today, and except the only change I'm gonna make, I'm gonna say Onana and net. You get Wan-Bissaka, Kamwala, Evans, Delo, Mainu, Cass. McTominay midfield, Diallo, Bruno, false 9, Garnacho on the left. I think you got to get Kumbalo in there against Brighton.
You got to start whoever you want to play in the FA Cup final, right? They have to get some minutes. Or do you think he's going to play Martinez like
you can't play Casemiro at center back against City, dude.
No, you can't. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to test the center backs out a week out from the final, right?
Absolutely.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Brighton the favorites. That's sucks.
Sad.
This season sucks. Plus 100 at the new Amex Stadium, sir. They're always going to be the Amex Stadium to me. Plus 320 for the draw. Plus 210. United the underdogs. Sir, given the odds, what is your score
That's
prediction?
brutal. That the odds there
It's
are not
Brighton?
good. I mean, Newcastle, I said we lose. We won. I'm going to say we lose and hope that the reverse psychology works. I'm going to say Brighton 2-1, and hopefully we win.
I think we squeak one out. Nobody's thrilled with the performance. 1-0, and we move on to the FA Cup final with, some fake momentum. Let's get into some news, sir.
United in the news. Rafael Varane, he's leaving United. Should I care?
You should care because we spent $48 million on him and he's leaving for a free. And
I
played
mean
half
that.
his matches. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
like
why we should care.
obviously, like that. But like again, Varane, rewind to the pod, rewind the tape. We said it, injury prone.
We were more right than we wanted to be.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
we said it. Why are you buying him? Like great player, but we pulled up his injury record and went through it when we signed him. I said that this guy's made of glass. Footballers, you need durability, and they should be hiring us in the front office because we pretty much said you shouldn't be doing this deal. And I think we were talking about Gabriel, and then he went to Arsenal, and actually that guy's doing pretty good. I think he cost about $20 million.
20 fucking million, bro.
And so it's like all these guys that you and me are keen on.
We weren't keen on him. We were like, we're overpaying for a player who.
No, we were keen on Gabriel.
Yes,
sir.
we were. We were kind of on Gabriel.
Camavinga.
And Camavinga. No, let's talk about
See, I
actual
could be the
sign-
manager of Manchester
actual-
United.
no.
I wanted to sign Camavinga and Harry Kane.
No, Moise Caicedo for £4.5 million. Julian Alvarez for £17 million. It's like Rafael Varane for £48 million when he's 29 years old and has injury. Great player. We should have signed him a decade earlier. But like doing this deal is the old regime. Terrible deal. Great player. Terrible deal because we overpaid. And we knew he had an poor injury record, and we paid him $20 million a year to play half the game. So, shame on us. Shout out Varane, he's a classy guy, but like you said, there's like no strong emotional attachment because we didn't win shit. Nice guy, but it's like losing. Every like player we signed that we shouldn't have signed because they were over the hill had a great first year. Ronaldo had a great first year when he came back. Cavani had a great first year when he came back. Zlatan had a great first year. Who else did? Fucking Casemiro had a great first year last year, and then they all fall off. And that's why you don't sign 30-year-olds or over 30-year-olds and overpay for them that, former world-class players.
So, another bad deal for United. Like, Varane gets a big social send-off, big goodbye, hey, you know what you got to say about Varane? It meant a lot to him. You could tell. Like, that says something, man. It says something.
The club is special.
It says something to me that he cared, wanted to come here, and like you saw the eggs, he's like on the pitch. Like there's something emotional about it. It probably didn't go the way that he wanted. Also, he fell out with Ten Hag earlier this season. Another kind of weird tiff there that happened. Also, Martial is bidding us farewell. 1 goal this season.
90 goals in 320 games for Manchester United. So. Tony Martial came from France. He came out of the gates hot, and then he's been really kind of abysmal ever since the 2019-20 season. Actually, it was 1920. I think that's when we gave him the big money.
He scored 17 goals that season.
In the league, 23 goals overall. Not a bad haul. And then the following season, 7. The following season, 1. It's a shame. He made of glass, but I think also like there's some fitness issues where he always seems to be getting injured again and again. So. I wish it worked out differently, but he also probably shouldn't have been in the club for the last couple of years. So,
once you loan him to Sevilla and he does nothing, and Sevilla benches him, and then you bring him back this year to be the guy because of the budget. That's literally like so. Again, goodbye, Martial. Goodbye, Varane. I think we're more focused on the future than these tearful goodbyes. Your 8th place is like people aren't added value. You're like I'm good. The big news coming out here, Wolves. Shout out Wolves for basically saying, hey, let's get rid of this VAR thing. And it's coming up for a vote, and everyone's talking about it. Sir, what do you think? Get rid of VAR. So let's say automated offsides decision-making and goal line technology. Do you get rid of VAR?
Yes, all day. Because what you're asking in the situation is the only way forward, other than what you just talked about, is to fix VAR. I do not have confidence in the Premier League to fix VAR. So I think you just keep it simple. What are the big ones? The big ones are offsides, and they're, like you said, goal line. There was a goal line one today with Casemiro's headed off the line. Keep it about that. They're terrible at it. The league is poorly run. They've let City fucking like bastardize the whole league. They let City fucking turn it into like tactical fouls and a lot of whinging, right? They have 11 fucking Bruno Fernandez's crying every time City plays. And VAR is the biggest egg on their face yet. It's a disaster. This season's been a disaster. It's the inconsistency across games. So just take it away, and then we'll just have to deal with individual refs, and then just have automated offsides like they did in the World Cup, and that's it. Go back to what it used to be. I don't know. What do you think, sir?
So, the one angle I want to show about VAR is that a lot of people talk about it, but they don't talk about the experience in the stadium. And when we went to the EFL final, there was a bunch of goals, and VAR actually took one away for offsides. But when you're in the stadium, you actually don't know what's happening, and it's just like a screen that says VAR check, and then all of a sudden the referee makes the decision. You don't have any context what's going on. That is horrifically bad, right? So
You would not be able to do that in America, by the way. People would freak out.
Yeah, exactly. It literally is just like, and the thing is, what's funny is, as a fan, I just know the longer the check's going, the goals could get disallowed. That's just kind of how it goes. Like, because they're making a meal of it, or they're in the booth talking about something, and like, so the in-stadium experience is like horrifically bad. I think my gut says get rid of it, right? Because it's so shit. And you're right. I think part of the reason why it's shit is because it's like, nothing against like England, but like the refs are like the way that sports are kind of dealt with there. It's like they're not ready for this yet. It's like the way the NHL does it. NHL has had replay forever, and it just works.
Longer than anybody, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then they brought it into the NFL, and it was as bad as this.
It was.
And it took a long time. And then now it literally goes to New York, and the same guys make all the decisions. And it's like, and these guys are like crazy experts in the rules. It's like imagine every decision going to the best ref there. And then they make the call, and the refs on the field don't have any judgment, right? It's like, and the way the game works is like in the last 2 minutes, they literally fix everything. That replay God basically adjusts all the plays in the last 2 minutes of the game, the most important parts. The problem with football is just like there's 90 minutes, there's so many decisions, and then like what do you review, what don't you review? And so I think they can get it right, but they have to go to that like centralized, like Howard Webb makes every call, and like he's more experienced than the referee on the pitch, so they kind of just deal. Right now they have these like simps that like sit there. There are worse versions.
The guys who do the games are like, he did the Wolves game yesterday. Today he's like doing VAR for United versus Newcastle.
Yeah, but that adds so much inconsistency to it. And then you have these like junior guys on the rig, and then you saw the human error, and they're nervous and they don't know what they're doing. And then like they're emphasizing speed, and then they're making the wrong call. And it literally has to go to like a central facility where they literally only focus on consistency. And I think they haven't gotten that yet. Right now, they're just worried about speed and then getting refs on the monitor. They're not worried about like now when it comes to NFL, it's completely consistency based. Like every call, every decision. And actually, as an NFL fan, like it adds value to the game.
It does.
Like the replay really makes the game better. And right now, VAR is making the game worse.
Well said.
I think in the future it can make it better. I just don't know if they're going to make the changes to make it better, and because it could be like, it seems like the refs are kind of infighting, and there's a lot of political stuff going on here, so I don't think they're going to get it right for a long time. And if that's the case, fucking get rid of it. But I do think it can help. It's just got to go to that kind of centralized consistency focused model.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, look what other top European football clubs do. Germany does it that way, right? They have one central place. Same VAR team does it week in, week out, and you get more consistent results. So you just want the calls to be consistent, even if they're bad calls. Everybody gets the same bad calls, not like this is a handball one game. This is the same thing happened a game later, it's not a handball. It's like, what the fuck's a handball? They have no idea. I get the vibe that Premier League refs is like USA Soccer. The guys who run, it's like kind of a closed off boys club, and they don't like being told what to do.
Yes.
Or like having someone come in and be like, "Hey, we should probably try and do like X, Y, and Z differently to make everything better."
No, like
no,
Mike
no, no, no.
Dean, like Mike Dean, like
yeah,
the
like John
spiteful
Moss.
ref.
Yeah, like
exactly.
fat guys that like shouldn't be reffing that are like reffing the biggest games as of a couple years ago. So it's like, I think just get rid of it because they ain't gonna fix it, and if they do, it'll take a decade.
Yeah, like name a call that like Vieira like really helped. I like it. All the shit calls are on the margins, like the Casemiro red, like that the hand on the neck, and then they don't call it, and then there's other things going on in the scrum, and then
The
it's
handballs,
like,
bro. The
handballs are
all
like
over the place.
insane. It really feels like somebody is like literally making the call based on how they're a fan. It's so ridiculous. And so I do think that there could be sort of like a, hey, let's stop it and then like go back to the drawing board and then bring it back. I do think replay can make the sport better, but it is in such a bad spot right now where getting rid of it would be better for the game. Also, big shout out to the U28s. They are the
18s.
The U18s. They are the Premier League champions, sir. Big shout out to them. They won, and obviously, you know, the youth thriving at United while the first team is drowning is hysterical theme. And then Kieran McKenna being linked to Manchester United. You literally dropped this on the last pod. I told you there was no way this could happen. And then boom, someone's listening to the pod.
I think it makes. I mean, you brought up a good point. You're like, you know, he's gonna say no. I just think for some ways he kind of fits the mold, right? Like, especially if Tuchel's unavailable, and they definitely want to get, you know, many people want to move. The majority, I think, of fans want to move off Ten Hag. He got 2 promotions in a row. He knows the football club. He's not a giant ego that's done it before, where he's going to be like such an outsized personality in terms of wanting control. And he'd be given, I think he'd be given a little. He knows the club. He was under Mourinho. Why not? You know, why not? Like you said, dude, it's like your next guy up. You know, he's the next guy up. I'd rather have him than Graham Potter or Gareth Southgate. So
he's not going to leave.
No, he probably won't. Yeah, he probably won't.
He's not going to leave Ipswich, but the vote against him is you got to be the guy. Like, you have to have that, like that we talked about Tuchel being the guy. It's like you need something for the players to listen to you. You know, I think the idea that you can come into United
sure,
and then like be the manager of Ipswich and then try to manage these stars, I think you need somebody who's above reproach when it comes to that type of game.
There's something to be said about that. It's hard to find those guys are not available, right? Because
Tuchel's the best of the lot.
He is,
or like a Nagelsmann, even like a Hansi Flick. You're like, who are you? You know, and he's like won the Champions League with Bayern. You know, but like he's got legit CV, but in England it's not going to be valued.
No, that's a good point.
You know, and it's this weird.
And how's good is his English? Because that's important.
Zizou.
I'm talking about Zizou, bro. He's not coming. He might come when there's like a Ferrari parked at Old Trafford in terms of this squad in 4 years after Ratcliffe like rebuilds everything. But he's not coming now when the team's a mess and needs like a full overhaul.
The one. You have an article here from The Athletic, but the one thing I did think was good was they canceled the awards dinner. I thought that was a class move from Ineos. Like, no awards. Like, people are gonna get the awards, but just, you know, we're not having a celebration of this season. I love that. I really do think that should have gone.
Yeah, it's one of the few non-tone deaf decisions they probably made in the last couple of months.
No, that's a great call. It's like, no.
You know, shout out, like we said it. I said it a couple months ago. I was like, nothing's elite about this club anymore except for, you know, the history and the fans. The youth continues to be elite, and shout out to the women. So, like, you'd want them to have some kind of event, but I agree. Like, the first team should be nowhere near tuxedos, and like,
well, they're gonna get. A lot of them are getting fired.
Yeah, or leaving for free. It's like, you're right. Like, when the seasons go, we've seen this before last decade, bro. When the season goes so shit, you just cancel the awards.
Yeah.
One of those years.
I'm sure Anthony's bummed. Player
of the year.
Jump into the fan questions. At mhersey5, quote, today was one of the first times in a long time where I felt joy watching Manchester United. Hopefully we can carry this momentum in the FA Cup final and beat City scum. Then let's have a full squad clear out. Always look towards next year. Only up from here, sirs. Love the optimism. At Rolling the Deep, I hate this, ... It's just giving me hope before the FA Cup final, ... If Casemiro's a center back against Man City, I think we're going to have a bad time. Oof. At Mike United Mets, when we shipped one right after halftime, I thought for sure our record with a halftime lead at OT was done for, but the boys fought back. Bruno showed great spirit, and we are so much better with him in the team. Would a team of 11 Bruno Fernandezes win the league? I think it would there would be too much whinging for anyone to do any football. And
If you watch Manchester City play,
it's a jokester. You get
but I actually he does whinge a lot. He's my favorite player at Manchester United. He's my favorite active player. He whinges a shit ton. But I was watching City. I was like, this team, they whinge more than any team I've ever seen. All 11, all of them do. But you know what? I like players who can play all the pitch, and that's why my last favorite player, big favorite player was Rooney. Rooney could play all 11. I don't think they win the league because he's 5'10" or whatever, and I think a bunch of 5'10" center backs and a 5'10" goalie would be a challenge. But I like Bruno Fernandes.
Mason Mount, favorite player. Let's go. At Johnny McGill 1, should Ahmad be kept or sold? Can we get a shout out to County Kerry, Ireland? Dublin always gets the shout out. Hey,
get up the ranking board.
County Kerry, Ireland. Let's go.
Let's go.
We're keeping Ahmad all day. We're selling Anthony for pennies on the dollar.
Ahmad's a start. I mean, he's the guy. The big thing is going to be what happens with Rashford this season. Does he get sold? Does he stay? Is he your left winger? And then, it's got obviously Hoyland's not going anywhere. You need another striker, probably a senior striker that he can learn from, take some of the pressure off of him. On the right wing, Sancho, see ya. Anthony, see ya. But Ahmad, I think it's going to be him and Garnacho and maybe Rashi fighting for those winger spots, depending on if Rashi stays or not. But Ahmad's he's a guy, man. He's legit. It's his time. It's about time.
Shout out County Kerry, Ireland. Let's go. Have a dark ale. Last one here at D_Cole18. One Premier League game and a Wembley final against the Cheatin' Blues, and we can breathe after this season of shit. Lads finally showed effort today, but we can all see the lack of quality and cohesion across the squad. Big summer ahead for Sir Jim and co. Appreciate the work you two put in for us all year, sir. We've been shoveling the pile of shit all year. Holy crap. It's been a long one. But you're right. We have one game. Brighton, let's win it. FA Cup final is the hope that kills you, sir. I am...
Plus 700. Plus 700.
Let's just hope that winning the league, if they win the league, it calms them down a bit from putting up 7 against us. It will be close. I think
it'll be tighter than that.
It was tight against Arsenal. We beat Newcastle.
I think they'll win. I think it'll be within a couple goals.
The problem is if you look at Newcastle and the chances they had today, City's going to score those. That's the difference.
No, they had some big chances.
And they're Guardiola. Where did they find this guy Guardiola? Did you see this guy Guardiola?
He costs £100 million. He costs
100
fucking million. They spent $100 million and no one talks.
Never heard of that guy. He's scoring bangers. I'm like, who is this guy Guardiola?
$100 million on him and no one mentions his price tag.
He's unbelievable.
This
guy's
that's what $100 million well spent will get.
He's a center back who can score bangers. It's what?
Yeah, he's a player.
Where did they get this guy?
They spent $100 million
out of
on
nowhere. Guardiola. What? That's. So 115 charges, don't forget it. And that is the real crime against the EPL is they haven't sorted that out, dude.
And they
that
won't,
is
bro.
big.
They're
going to win a league and they're not going to deal with that. That's
4.
crazy.
They won 4.
No, but this one, they should have sorted it before they won this one.
They should have. Especially with other, it's a shame, bro. But the league is losing a lot of its luster because they've allowed them to kind of bastardize this league by cheating, and then no one acknowledges it. No one talks about
No, it was talked about on BN Sport.
They're
they
on
went through it.
They're on fucking NBC Sports, and they're like, it's a Cinderella story. Can't believe he did it.
Well, they're in bed with the league because they're paying them billions for the rights, so they're not going to say it's a ruse. But they on BN Sport, they went through. Here's what they're charged with. This is how many charges here. Then they went through it.
They're not doing that on NBC.
And it was and they're like, how could the league let this stand and not address it? They're good. If they win again, these are just hanging over their heads. And it's not. I don't want to say it's not fair to the City fans. It's not fair to all football fans to have this outstanding issue that's not dealt with. But sir, that's it. That's the podcast. You like American Red Devils? Support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/American Devils. AmericanDevils.store for your 10 Hog Red Army scarves. AmericanDevils.com. Sir, give us our top 10 cities last 7 days.
Number 1, how you doing? How you doing? Dublin, Ireland. Shout out. Which other county? Kerry.
Kerry.
Appreciate all our Irish America Red Devil fans. Chicago, Illinois, number 2. Los Angeles, California. Melbourne, Australia. Brooklyn, New York. Manchester, England. Phoenix, Arizona. Houston, Texas. Oslo, Norway. And last but not least, New York, New York. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. We're almost there. Last game of the EPL season is on Sunday. Nothing very much to play for there except for 3 points. And then FA Cup final.
Going to
following
Wembley.
weekend. Let's go. But everybody, we appreciate you. Thank you for staying with us all season. It's been a rough one, but we couldn't do it without you.